What is happening? Welcome to my channel. My name is Matt Bradford. Today, we're gonna do some right hand picking stuff. I'm gonna start with some beginner stuff, and we'll start with just some basic picking exercises. Right? We'll move into some single note stuff. And then I'll end with, I'll just talk a little bit about some of these more advanced sort of raking sort of things. You know, these raking sort of rolling things that I do that are a little more advanced, but they're still cool, and you can start working on them now. And I have an overhead camera set up. That's what this pole is for. So, hopefully you'll be able to see a little bit of what I'm doing when I'm talking about it. First things first. Please don't skip this part. It's important. I make instruments. I make conversion necks for Telecasters. I also make full instruments. I made this whole instrument, but I do make necks that bolt onto Teles or Strats or Jaguars or whatever. The link to my reverb store is below, and there's my email there. You can also just email me for a better price, right? Reverb. Yeah, we can calculate exact shipping, and we can do all types of stuff. That's going to be more helpful than just doing it through Reverb, where there's fees and it's a limited space, etc. So I can give you a better price with better shipping costs, just direct. Secondly, today's and every day's lesson materials are on Patreon. I don't know what we're going to end up with today. I'm just kind of doing this by the seat of my pants. Seat of my plants. But link is below. I have merch. We got t-shirts. We've got hats. We've got mugs. We've got sweatshirts. And when I say we, it's all me. And it's all available. Link below. Printful.mattbradford.me, I think. Finally, if you don't want to subscribe to Patreon, you don't want to buy an instrument, you just want to leave me a tip. You like what I'm doing, you're like, hey man, thanks. I just want to leave you a tip. Here's some QR codes. It's all greatly appreciated. And if you've left me a tip, thank you so much. I mean, it really does mean the world. And I know who each one of you are, so thank you. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm going to be honest. I don't like this angle. I don't have a very... But it is what it is. This is going to be what it's going to be. So, right hand technique. Before we even start, I use 3 finger picks and a thumb pick. That is not traditional. If you're looking for traditional lap steel technique, Lessons with Troy, MikeWitcher.com. They're great. They're going to give you the traditional stuff. You can do everything I'm doing with the 3 finger picks with the 2. You're just going to have to adjust some of the stuff. We're in open D tuning, okay? D, A, D, F sharp, A, D, which means that we have a power chord on our bottom 3 strings. And if you look at this major scale here, you can see the minor chords have the power chord on the bottom 3 strings. The major chords are straight across. Which means that I can do some of these exercises. Basically what I'm gonna do is this. This first exercise, you can do it with any set of chords. I'm gonna do a 1, 4, 2, 5, because why not? But for the 1, for the 4 chord, I'm gonna cover up the bottom 4 strings. Okay, for the 2 chord, I'm gonna cover up the bottom 3 strings. And then for the 5 chord, I'm going to cover up the bottom 4 string. Does that make sense? The major chords in this chart here, I'm covering up the bottom 4 strings. For the minor chords, I'm covering up the bottom 3. It's going to give us some cool extensions. It doesn't matter. The point is this. What we're going to do is this. First exercise, really simple. Thumb is on my 6th string. Index on my... I don't want to do that. Yeah, I do. Let's do that. Okay, so thumb on my low string, index on my 3rd string, middle finger on my 2nd string. That's it. That's the whole thing. And for each chord, we're gonna do just 1, 2, 3. Okay, now if you look at my hand, you'll notice my thumb is out in front of my fingers, right? It's sometimes you see people. I don't even know how to do it. Basically, my elbow is in against my body. Okay, and it's not like right up against it, but it's there. It's my elbow's in. And then if you look at my hand, it does this. So my thumb is out in front, my fingers are in behind it. I've heard some people say try to hold a golf ball or a ping pong ball or something in your hand. I don't know about that, but I just know you can see where my fingers are, where my thumb is, right? So my fingers are always kind of hiding under my palm here. Does that make sense? So now we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do it with a metronome. If we take let me get this set up. Okay. If we take a metronome at 70 BPM, all right, and all we're doing is just, ooh, okay. So, but let's do the right chords. So 1, 4, 2, 5. Okay, and that would be the cat. Remember what strings I'm covering up. Okay, and when you're doing this exercise, all you want to do is, or at least what I want to do, is I'm focusing on playing evenly and calmly straight across. I don't have any pedals on. It's going guitar into the amp. Today the amp is a Black Volt Crazy Horse, if you're wondering. Set up with a little bit of dirt, but, right? Okay, now, the next exercise. So that's the first one. Very simple. The next exercise is where we kind of get, now we're going to start to like do some stuff. Okay? My thumb is going to bounce between my low string and my 4th string. So 6 and 4. And then these 3 fingers are like little soldiers, and they're going to sit on the 3rd string, 2nd string, 1st string. Okay? Thumb, 1st string, 3rd string rather, 1st finger, 3rd string, middle finger, index. And I have some tabs. They're gonna be on Patreon. And I'm gonna it's gonna be thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, ring. That's the whole pattern. Thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, ring, okay? And again, it works. Let's use the same exact chord change. And I'm going to go way slower than that, but I just wanted to get through it. And I can speed this up. Let me get a little cleaner here, where I can... Okay, this is an exercise I still do all the time, and it's great for speed, and it's great for dexterity, and it's great for building some sort of independence between your thumb and your fingers, where you can... Okay, so thumb, index, thumb, middle. The tab is on Patreon. Thumb, index, thumb, ring. I'm going to use the 1 chord, the 4 chord, my 2 chord, and again, I'm only covering up the bottom 3 strings, and then my 5 chord, right? And that's the way I'm doing each one of those chords. I'm covering up major, major, minor, major, right? Here we go. We're going thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, ring. Okay, and I'm starting at 70 BPM. You can start slower if you need to. Ramp it up. And this is how I build speed. Okay, I start slow and I keep ramping it up. So we're going. screwed it up. See what I'm saying? Let's ramp it up again. Now, this is 120 beats a minute. Okay? So, I've been doing quarter notes. I could go to eighth notes at 60 beats a minute. Let's do 120, let's do quarter notes, and then we're going to go to 60 and we're going to do eighth notes. What that means is this. So I'm doing one note per beat. Oh, and I got to do the whole thing. I got it. I know how to do it now. Okay, you see how that's working? Now let's do the same thing, but at 60 beats a minute. So now it's eighth notes. So now it's... See what I'm saying? And then we can make it 6, and we can ramp it back up to 120, and then it's 16th notes, right? And then you have this, and then it'd be like what? Okay, and that's the first exercise. That's it. And that'll work against, if you're playing in a major scale, that works against any of your chords. That's not the right place. Okay, that's using only the chords that are in the major scale. Okay, so that's diatonic chords in the major scale. I'm getting like 9 million texts. I want to make sure that no one's died. All right. So you'll notice that in that let's make sure everything's working. Okay, good. You'll notice that in that situation, right, our thumb and our fingers are alternating each time. So it's always thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, ring. That also holds true for single notes, where a lot of times I'm either going to go between my thumb and my index finger, right, or between my thumb and my ring and my middle finger. And both of those are really similar. Which one do I use? The one that doesn't hurt, to be honest with you. I have pain in my hands, and so I can switch. That was thumb, index, thumb, thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle, index. Whatever. So let's find something that makes sense to do. And one of the patterns that is really common on lap steel, on dobro, Troy, Lessons with Troy calls it the X pattern, I think. Somebody hit me to that, because I was like, I like this pattern. And they were like, Troy likes that pattern. And it's like, well, I think a lot of us do. Because this is it. But in the major scale, we have our 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. Right? And I'm just gonna go up and I'm gonna go back and forth. I'm gonna start my 5. I'm gonna end on my 3. I'm gonna go back up and down. And I don't love playing scales. I would rather learn licks. I would rather learn stuff. And again, I have a bunch of songs up that are showing you how to play a lot of this stuff. So any of that stuff, definitely go learn the songs and try to apply this technique to it. But if you want to practice, again, get a metronome out and let's do eighth notes against 60 beats a minute. And I'm just going... Ooh, let's do that. Okay, so... Should we start with the 1? Okay, this is so the antithesis of my channel. But just for the sake of this exercise, I don't do this. I learn songs, and then I just try to figure out what the but that's also why it sounds messy, right? So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So the 1 and the 2 are on the 5th fret. And then 3, 4, 5, 6 are all on the 4th string. And then 7, 1. Okay? Right? See, I don't do this. This is the antithesis of my channel. Does that make sense, what we're doing? So check it out. We're going to do 8th notes. So we're going to go. And if that's too fast, go slower. Start with quarter notes at 60. But let's speed it up. Okay, now we're at 80. Great, speed it up. Now we're at 100. I don't speed it up this quickly usually when I'm practicing, but again, this is how I build speed. Slowly build it up. Slowly build it up. Right? Speed it up again. Now, this is true with anything. This is true with learning songs too, with anything. Where I'm learning something, you know, I played with Tool. I don't know if you guys knew that. I don't know if I ever talk about it. I'm never going to stop showing that clip. That's the best thing. But, man, that riff, that opening riff almost killed me. It's just the Adam's technique is so unique and cool, and the song is in 9/8, and it was just like, it was so hard. And I'm going to tell you right now, you know, I got some heads up that I was playing, and I sat down and I learned that song, and I started really slow, and I built myself like a drum beat in Logic to make sure that I could practice, and then I could slowly speed it up. I built a whole thing just MIDI, and I don't even know how to play the riff anymore. But like, you know, I started super slow, and I was just like, I have to just do this slow to get to the speed to be able to play the riff. And then they're like, we don't care if you play the riff or not, just, you know, play what you play. And I was like, oh, okay. So, this is how we do it. But with any lick, right? Any sort of like in between the notes thing, I'm alternating between my pick and my first finger or my pick and my middle finger. I'm not going to hold it up by itself, but you get the gist. And the other way to practice that is just, again, I would put a metronome on or a drum beat. You know, get crazy, put a drum beat on. If we did like a okay, so now I'm gonna play just the major scale, but I'm gonna just play whatever I. That's a lot of times how I practice, you know, is again, I'll just put something on that's inspiring, more inspiring than a click, and then, you know, just keep playing the scale. Okay, so that's single notes, and again, this is more of a technique video. for every song that I teach, there's all types of single note lines. There's all types of rhythm lines. So use that stuff to help you. But this is, again, keeping that thumb in front of the fingers, the alternate back and forth. The last thing, and people have asked me about this a bunch, is some of my raking techniques, and some of it is. So I'm going to show two. Number one is just, with just the thumb, and I'm angling my bar, so I'm hitting all the strings, but my bar is only on the string that I'm trying to play. So that's the 12th fret, right? 11th fret, and I'm muting every note I'm not hitting. But here's the other one, and this is the cool one. So that's just thumb raking across. And you don't want to go too slow, right? But you don't want to go too fast. You kind of want to be in between, and you got to find the right thing for the right song. But the other one is this, and this is what's cool. So let me see if I can find a way I would do this. Okay, so there's a little bit of note involved in this. This is now going to the pentatonic scale, all right? And if I'm on that one of the things that I'll do, and this is I think this is what people have been asking about. I don't always, because there's not really whatever, it doesn't matter. This is why I play and I don't use words. Look. What I'm doing, and the reason I keep doing it is so I can actually figure it out. I'm playing the 7, the flat 7, the 5, and the 2. And I'm really just, right? This is what's called a roll. And I have a video on reverse rolls. It's here. I've linked it, whichever side YouTube puts it on. But check it out. Basically, so I'm going middle, index, thumb, and then I'm coming up to the 1, right? But it's really, these are not even barely being played. It's just, you see what I'm saying? So it's yeah. I'm still playing scale tones. So I can do the same thing here on the 3, 1, 5, flat 3. Flat 3, 1, 5, or it's that same minor chord shape, right? And then I go to my last note. Okay, so as I experiment with this, I'm seeing it. Basically, I'm using minor scale shapes. So let's start with this one. Let's not get, so this shape here on this chart, right? See the shape? That shape. Great shape. And I can do the same thing up here. And I'm just ending on a different note. There's the flat 3 and the 5. And again, these are much more advanced shapes. Okay, I can't even do the highlighty thing at the right speed. So it's just, right? And then if I go up to the next set of shapes, why am I yelling? No one knows. Right? And you can see it. Now, I'm using my ring finger. That's the ring finger. The kids do it. Instead of my middle finger, this one. This one. This one. Right? But you could do it with your middle. See what I'm saying? Like, I have enough time to get back to it with my middle finger, but I'm not used to that, and so I do it with my ring finger, which is hence the reason for the 3. Well, this and the earlier exercise as well. And the same thing here. I'm reverse rolling on this shape. And then... You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense how the rolls are working? Where like, it's... And then I went back to the thumb index for the last part. So, we've got 3 things to work on. Single note lines. And, listen, that thumb, index, thumb, middle, if you're not using the 3rd finger pick, then it's still just middle. I'm sorry. Right? I can do it with both, but I'm going to do it this way. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, alternating thumb and finger. And then, right, the reverse rolls. And again, I keep those pretty messy, but I still am trying to grab those notes. I'm not grabbing this major 3rd. No. Right? It's got to be the minor 3rd. But I can keep it a little messier because it's really more for effect than for the notes. See what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I hope it does. I hope this made sense. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, and again, I would take these techniques and then apply them to the songs. I got a whole playlist of songs on my profile. More coming all the time. Please join me on Patreon. Please, like and subscribe. Leave me a tip, whatever. I appreciate you. Let's go out with that drum beat. Thanks for hanging.